Hi everyone, welcome to Once Upon a Political Week. I'm Carly Riley. The date is Thursday, November 9th, 1917, and it's time for a recap of the week. We start last Friday with Britain's Balfour Declaration. The Balfour Declaration is a letter in which the British government wrote of their support for the creation of a Jewish homeland in Palestine. So hopefully that doesn't cause 100 years of warfare over a handful of religiously relevant landmarks that will ensnare literally the entire world in a battle over human rights, democracy, and global imperialism. Of course, part of Britain's goal with the Balfour Declaration is rooted in their military strategy for the current world war. Britain is worried that Russia is going to pull out of the war, abandoning Britain and the Allied forces, and so is hoping that by supporting a Jewish homeland, they will encourage Russia's large Jewish population to put pressure on the current Russian provisional government to stay in the war. So far, however, Britain's plan isn't going so well. On Monday, just 4 days after the release of the Balfour Declaration, the communist Bolshevik forces in Russia bombed the palace in Petrograd, leaving it petrified, and toppling the Russian provisional government, leaving it dead. It is now expected that Vladimir Lenin, the leader of the Bolshevik army, will certainly seek an armistice with Germany and remove Russia from the fighting. Damn. To Lenin, there are really only two enemies: capitalism and a clean shave. The United States is largely disturbed by these events unfolding in Eastern Europe. Today's New York Times reported that, quote, "From the outset of revolution, the Russian communists have thwarted efforts of moderate governments," end quote. This seems like a fair criticism. After all, the provisional government that the communists have just overthrown has been pushing moderate policy, even promising elections for some time in the near future. And yet, some are saying that the Bolshevik Revolution has actually been, at least in part, financed by certain wealthy Americans working to promote their own interests abroad. I mean, how disturbing is that? To think that a wealthy American seeking personal gain would enable a violent, power-hungry Russian leader who would undermine fair and free elections? So hopefully that doesn't cause 100 years of Cold Warfare over a handful of diametrically opposed policy views that will ensnare literally the entire world in a battle over human rights, democracy, and global imperialism. And now, a segment I like to call History Doesn't Repeat Itself, but it rhymes. Wall Street paid Trotsky, the Germans paid Lenin, to start the Russian Revolution Armageddon. Here's what I'm saying. The Bolsheviks were funded by a capitalist payday. That's how you take down an election the American way. So Russia can hack the DNC and think they ruined the doomed Hillary and say, "You got Trump," and laugh maniacally, but they got Stalin. So that's been our week. Full-scale war in Central Europe, communist revolution in Russia, Western land grabs in the Middle East, and we don't even have a vaccine for polio, so things could be better. Have a good night, everyone.